Welcome to Biz Meds with Darris and Saad, where we give you the medications for your business. This podcast is all about the minimum effective doses you need to make a massive improvement in your business. Listen and enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Biz Meds. We are your hosts. My name is Saad.
And I'm Darris. And you've not let me introduce anymore.
No, you're more than welcome to introduce it. And for today's podcast, we're going to have an open discussion about business and the state of business and where things are at.
Whatever comes along.
And whatever comes along.
This is So I know I love Andy Frisella. I love him because he does cruise the internet. We're just going to do cruise the airwaves. So whatever just comes along the airwaves that we talk about, that's what we're going to talk about. We're just going to do this raw style.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
So honestly, this is something that I want to talk more about. We were just talking about that, but for some reason,
aliens. This has gone for a turn.
Aliens and businesses. What are they? They're going to take away our businesses. This one's just there's different types of business owners. You have the one that's like the perfect poster person of business, like polished, well-dressed, focused. And then you have other types of business owners as well that are smaller, don't really look polished. And this is not about looks. This is more about what your typical business owner is in your mind.
Okay, so
and the
from
reason,
your perspective.
From my perspective,
okay,
yeah.
Good. I'm letting you just run with this.
Yeah, well, and the reason why I want to talk about it is because we've talked about this several times. We just talked about it in our last episode as well. There's a couple of clips that we've had a lot of views on because of it. This one's about business owners understanding the one key thing, and it's always consistency. Being consistent with what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
Yeah,
you know what I'm getting at?
I do, but I want you to keep going before I say anything just to make sure, because I don't want to derail it.
So when I say consistency, I'm talking about all right, I have set out, so for us, for example, we have set out to help people on a larger scale. Help people on their business journey, guide them, give them the knowledge that we have been, we have experienced.
Yeah, we want to help them reduce the amount of time it takes by helping them reclaim their focus, their attention, and leverage a flow state to be able to do more than they've ever thought possible in a lot less time.
Exactly.
Right.
And we've cracked the formula. You have the formula on how to help people do that a lot faster.
Yes.
Now, it requires a certain type of mentality to want that. And what I'm saying is somebody that's interested and wants to grow and really is down for that journey.
Yes.
And that requires consistency.
Okay.
So
I have another word for it.
Say it, grit. Said it at the same time.
It's grit.
It absolutely.
It's great because it encompasses a few different things, but okay, continue.
No, you're absolutely right. It's grit. I say consistency because that's kind of what I attribute to my own growth anyway, that's a sidetrack. But the reason why I'm talking about consistency is because, what I've noticed is anybody that has a vision or a goal, there's going to be times that shit's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Absolutely tough.
Yes.
There's going to be times that things are going to be downhill roller coaster. You're just cruising. And you think that
where you're you have your head in your hands and you are, either on the verge of tears or crying, or you don't know how you're going to continue.
Yeah.
You're in the depths of despair.
Yeah.
You are in the depths of the shit.
Mm-hmm. And specifically for that point, I have I think this is episode 2 or episode 3, where you were talking about a lot of times business owners, it's like other people outside of the business don't know that business owners are barely making payroll or barely getting by.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, the thing is, it's like anything.
Mm-hmm.
You never know all you get is what you just see and kind of the story that you attach to something. So when you start talking at the beginning, you're like, you see the perfect polished guy or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. That is just the perception.
Mm-hmm.
That's just that is what you see, what the facade or the thing that they may be, but that's what they kind of put on the outside, and the story we attach to that. Mm-hmm. And we tend to say, we see a business owner, oh, you must be doing great. And all that is just to say, that's what we think, but we never really know what's going on inside of the business, right? And just because someone looks a certain way, maybe they are just an absolute terror to work with.
Yeah.
Right?
No, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's, it's really just, a lot of people that we look at business, we just have an assumption. We like to make those assumptions, but we never really know. And suddenly it's like, oh, something happens, like, oh, I never even knew. I'm like, well, why? How would you? Yeah. Right. Because you just have this perception in your mind of how a business goes, and that you don't really take it. And if you've never had to make payroll before, or you've never had to do things, well, then you won't really think about it.
Yeah. So that's kind of basically what I was saying, is that the overarching, curtain to that is the grit and the consistency. And most business owners that are going through it are not able to define it or explain that. And sometimes you just got to keep going. And it's something that is not very much talked. I mean, we talk about it a lot. But it just, something happened this week that made me realize that. And I was like, you know what? It's a tough journey. It is.
We'll continue to talk about it. It's, if you are, this is why we talked about goals, and that I push back to the nth degree. I'm like, you have to understand, like, I know you want to go into business, you want to do this thing. And why I think it's so important to find out what your purpose is, because there's going to be days where you don't want to take that step, and no amount of grit, or you have grit, you want to take that step, but fuck,
you're scared.
You just feel everything in the world, and everything is just anchored your foot to the floor, and you can't.
Yeah.
And so without that extra bit of, what the fuck am I doing this for?
Yeah.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, like, in your fucking heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is like, you will not take the step.
Yeah.
Right.
And exactly to your point, a lot of times up until you realize that it's not about the money, you're just going to end up doing some crappy job that is going to sooner or later. The reason why I bring that up is because I know a guy that has sold 2 businesses, and he's starting a third one. And he's doing kind of similar things. He's made enough money to retire and just kind of put his feet up. But my thought immediately, and I'm pretty sure everybody's like, well, why are you starting another business? And it's not the average person that will ever understand that this guy is on a mission, trying to make a difference on a scale that he hasn't yet touched.
Okay.
He got bought out.
Okay. Yeah. But I think you as a business owner needs to know, you need to know you are going to be misunderstood. There will be people who just don't get it. I couldn't fucking care less.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care if you agree with my mission. I don't care if you're I don't care if you judge me for it. I don't fucking care. I don't need your approval. I don't need your permission. I don't need anything from you other than get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, and so if you are having the thought, like you're a business owner or you want to go into business, there are, and this is not for everyone. Like this message isn't for everyone. It's not, because we're not talking to the people that are just, hey, you know what? I have a good business and I'm just really happy doing that. I am happy for you.
Yeah.
And if you have a job that you're happy in and you find, enjoyment and fulfillment and you are content in life, amazing. This is not a shot on you. This is not a shot against that. That's great for you. I'm happy for you. I'm grateful for you.
Mm-hmm.
But those who understand that their calling is bigger and higher and more important, not necessarily more important, but important to them, you're going to be misunderstood. You're going to do things and people will not agree. And I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. It doesn't fucking matter. None of that matters. I don't need people to understand like, oh, well, why didn't you go on this trip or do this thing? Well, because I'm investing in something else. I have a bigger mission and I'm okay not going to eat the marshmallow right away. So there was a study and it was about, I can't remember when it was done, but it's a famous study. You can look it up. It's like the marshmallow. You can just look up the marshmallow study. And it was, they put a marshmallow in front of a kid and they were studying, and they would say, okay, look at, if you don't eat the marshmallow, when I come back, I will give you another one. And what we're trying to measure is like how well children could delay gratification. Right. And what kind of impact that would have.
Yeah.
And so they did this whole study. So, and some people are really good at being able to delay gratification and they can say, oh yeah, I can suffer. I will say me for a long time, I could not. And I had a hard time delaying gratification. So I made a lot of bad choices. I did things and I was like, oh, I want the gratification now. I want the kind of accolades. I want the fruits of my labor right now. And I'm at a different stage where I'm like, okay, I don't need that because now I have found and discovered a much larger purpose that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go do that. But I don't need people to approve that. I don't need to feel like I'm understood because we're a different breed.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a really cool quote. Well, it's not really like a famous quote, but I heard somebody say that you just have to choose your hard. Like,
choose your hard. But the problem with that is you don't know the fucking hard that you're choosing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on the situation.
Choose your regret, choose your hard. Like say any of them. Like I get it. Like I get what those are intended to do.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, they make you think and they make you feel and all that stuff. And it's like, you said it, like, you don't know, like when someone goes into business, you don't know what you're getting into most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to have a job or I'm going to have a business and I'm going to feel important. And guess what? You end up babysitting fucking adults. You end up babysitting fucking adults.
Yeah. The difference is that they don't feel like they have to do things if they're not in the right mind to want to do those things. They will do the bare minimum.
It was the single biggest reason I shrank my game was I was tired of babysitting adults. And I will say I let that impact me to the point where I was just fine, just me being a small kind of, I'm just going to coach and that's it, because I don't want the headache. And it wasn't until I was pushed beyond to say, okay, I want you to think about, like, if you doubled the size of your business, what would that do? I'm like, oh, okay. What if you 10x'd it? Oh.
No, I'm thinking.
And what if you 100x'd it? Oh. Yeah. Oh, and then what are the beliefs that you have in place that
prevent you
from believing that that's possible. And what's the bigger purpose that you would be serving by doing that? And when you start to wrestle with those questions, like that's where you start to unpack the stuff you need to work through. And so again, this is for the people that need to hear this, is that when you identify what your purpose is, a lot of that other stuff just becomes very quiet. It doesn't mean it's easy street. It doesn't mean you suddenly just rocket ship to the fucking top.
You just have a clearer sight of where
you
you're
have
heading.
a clear, and you're easier then to say, okay, I'm going to start filtering. Okay, what is conducive to that mission and what is not? Is it taking 3 months to go on a golf trip in the Middle East when I could be using that time and energy to do much bigger things? Okay, well then I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I like to use the gym example for this, mostly because
the gym example. We've never talked about the gym on this show.
We've never worked out in our
We've
lives,
never worked
ever.
out.
What's a
There's no video proof of
what's
that
a dumbbell? Yeah, the reason why I like using the workout example for this is because it's simple. A lot of people can relate to it. It's like, hey, I want to get stronger. I want to put on more muscle. What do you need to be doing? Eating more, cleaner, more protein, watching your diet. That can't mean like you're getting shit-faced Friday night or you're having pizzas, right? Like that's just gonna derail you. So
dirty book.
Dirty book. Well, I mean, like you could look at yourself in the mirror and then you very quickly realize, like, oh, well, this is not what I wanted my business to look like. You know, you're just like all over the place, Jabba the Hutt, like in the mirror, like, oh, what happened to my business, right? So, and the reason why I like that example is because when you have that clear, exactly like you said, clear defined goal, and you have a purpose, and it's all aligning with what it is that you're trying to accomplish, things will become easier in the sense that you understand where you're heading towards, and the distractions are going to be easier to push away.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, yes.
Yeah.
You know,
but sometimes it can take a long time before you understand.
Yeah, that's the process of discovery. But like if you're pushing yourself towards that, then inevitably you're going to run up against your demons. You're going to run up against your things that you have to sort out, and you got to make your peace with it, and you got to put to bed. Yeah. You have to, because that goes back to that Be Do Have podcast, right? So if I'm going to do that, who do I need to be to accomplish that? Yeah. And then you have to start doing that, being that person. And that is unfortunately, it's going to, fortunately, yeah. Unfortunate in the moment, because it's going to cause you to
ask for a lot to do.
Yes. Yeah. And it's going to feel overwhelming. Yeah. It's going to feel like, oh, wow, like you're going to kick yourself in the groin a few times. That's what it's going to feel like.
Yeah. And sorry, just to cut you off quickly. That's part of the reason why like the choose your hard hits really hard for some people, in the sense of like they resonate to it, is like, choose your heart. Do you want to be homeless and never have the nice life that you've dreamt of, or you have a couple years of hard work and then you get what you want?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's, as I've come to, like, again, my personal thought on this is when you start to wrestle and identify what your purpose is, it puts that all into context. Mm-hmm. It puts it in the proper context of, okay, what am I here to do?
Yeah.
And okay, now, do I want to live with the regret of, oh, well, I missed out on these few things now, but I didn't attain that, or didn't try for that, versus, well, I just kind of like did whatever, and then now I'm on my deathbed, and I'm gonna now have my final thought, maybe the regret of not doing what I knew I was here to do, and that starts. For me, that helps to put things back into, so it's always a reverse engineer, right? So even when it comes to a business, okay, so what is it that you're trying to do? But more so, like, if you want this business, but why? Like, what is it you're trying to achieve and accomplish? And what are you enabling by doing and having that business that way, right? Because it's like the business is just a business. What is it that it enables you to do and achieve? It should be kind of like answering that question. And then you can say, okay, well, bring that back and say, okay, so what is it that I need to do to be able to do that? Like on a daily, bring it right back, and you can reverse engineer that back into the day. Okay. And these are the behaviors, the actions that I need to do on a daily basis that support that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's no difference, because it's, as a leader, like, you're only going to get there by becoming a better person, being able to handle that.
Sorry. It's just, I'm sure the viewers have noticed that white shirt Darris is passionate Darris.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. There's 2 episodes in a row now. It can't be a coincidence.
What do you mean 2 episodes in a row?
Well, of you wearing a white shirt.
Oh, like the 2 episodes that I've worn a white
Yeah,
shirt?
exactly.
I haven't even noticed that.
Sorry, I was just like looking at you. I was like, you were wearing a white shirt last time when you got passionate like this too. It's a good thing.
It just
I guess
happens
like
that we're talking about things, and really, like, when it comes down to it, and I get challenged with this one as well, and maybe that's why. It's because when you start to realize just how important that is,
yeah,
and when you're not living at that, it just feels like it pulls on your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then you start to be able to look at, okay, like, what is the bigger thing that I'm here for? And a lot of the other things just get put in their proper context. It's, like, okay, well, why am I wasting my time and energy on some of these things that are just so inconsequential?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, someone's upset with you, or, someone doesn't, okay, cool. All right. Like, that matters nothing in the grand scheme of the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
like, where's your Bugatti? I'm sorry, I had to do. I'm sorry, I had to lighten it
where's
up.
Your Ducati?
Yeah, where's your Ducati? Yeah, sorry, I had to do that.
Well, okay, that's not a bad.
No, that's not a bad way to end it.
Well, I mean, we have a few more minutes left. Yeah. I mean, what else?
But I feel like White Shirt Darris is probably going to extend it down to another 20-minute long if we let that continue going. The train of thought coming along. No, but we have time if you want to wrap up your thought.
I mean, it's a hard one because it's such it really is a big deal. And it's such an important thing because you kick this whole thing off. Because when you really do need that, but you also need to develop the grit that goes along with that. Because, okay, you can have like that big purpose, right? And sometimes you're gonna have a pull towards that, but sometimes what you also knew is you develop grit, and that's going to keep pushing you towards it. Right? So it's a push and a pull. It's not always a pull. It's not always just a push. This is actually Jordan Peterson. When I first heard that, I was like, that really crystallizes that dynamic of why it's important, that purpose with passion, and then grit behind it, because it's a push and a pull. So you need something pulling and drawing you forward, but you also need something that's going to keep you moving forward. And so in the times where it's dark and you don't feel like you can lift that leg, you have something that's going to give you that last bit of juice to like, okay, one more step, right? And then sometimes where you're like, oh, you don't feel like that thing is like there, but you have the grit of perseverance and you're going to continue just to take the next step. And because you know where you're going, you're like, maybe you don't have the same belief you did the same day, but that's okay. Like, we're human. So we go up, we go down. It's a little bit, that's the human fucking condition, right? But for those of you who know you're here to do something, you have a fucking responsibility to go and do it. Yeah. Have a responsibility. And it's going to be hard. And we say this, you don't know how hard it's going to be. You don't know how hard it's going to be. And it's going to be hard. It's going to suck. And I'm going to tell you this, is that when you fail, and you will fail, and I have failed, and I know that, and specifically now when, you talked about, it's about the money, and back then it was about the money, and then ego, and having just not knowing how to put all that together, and allowing, your distractions and things that aren't important to take up your time, and they rob you of that, of you doing what you need to do. Like, dude, when I had my coaching company in Houston, and man, it eventually flamed out, and I would sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm sitting in a little office. I'd rent a little office space, and I'm gonna go on Facebook, and I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna send some emails, and I'd be there for hours. And man, I look back, I'm like, I was squandering that time and energy. I was just being distracted with stupid shit. Writing on my flip chart, I'm like, and just excessive mental masturbation about things, and not actually doing what needed to be done and building the skill of doing. Yeah. Oh man, like that's the price that you pay when you don't do what you need to do. Mm-hmm. So yes, you need to have that purpose and that passion. You need to have the grit. You have to do. And it's going to be hard, but you also have to that's why this mission for me is so fucking important, because I will probably say that me doing that probably definitely 100% contributed to the kid's mom and I not being together and getting divorced. I would say that's probably a big contributing factor, is because I didn't do what was required of me. Yeah. So learn from the fucking lessons of other people, and sometimes maybe you need to go through your own fucking lessons, but you're going to have your own.
The shitty part about that is by the time you learn the lesson, it's too late to fix what you could have fixed back in the day. Now you just do better next time.
Well, that goes back to, a conversation we had already. It's, the only thing you can do is, if you are humble enough and willing to learn the lesson, use it and take that. Yeah. Right. That will demonstrate that you have learned something. Yeah. If you do the same thing over and over and over, then you haven't learned the lesson. Yeah. And so now that's why, specifically when it comes to keeping your attention and your focus so fucking guarded and not being distracted with things, and being able to filter out stuff and not give a fuck what people think about, how you dress and what you drive and all those other things. Cause you're on a bigger mission. Yeah. Right. My worth and what I'm here to do is not based on what someone's fucking opinion of me is. And our ability to help clients, increase revenue 32% a year is not dependent on the fucking car I drive. Mm-hmm.
The value of this podcast and the content is not determined by the views that we have right now,
or the fact that we don't charge for it. Yeah. Right.
Or the fact that there's a free masterclass in the section,
in the link below, in the show notes, that you should be fucking registering for. Anyway. Yeah, now we're good. Yeah.
Now we're good.
All right. See, I'm calm again. Yeah. It's like that.
Exactly.
Hey, listen. So we know this was just kind of a very open mic session. I think these are good. I love these. It's just, Tyler, we just talk about stuff. So hopefully you got something from that. Hopefully you realize just the power and how important having a purpose is, but also having grit. And there's ways you can develop those. Most importantly is, like we said, there's a free masterclass. Just submit your email in 60 minutes, go through it, listen to it, go through the exercises. You'll reduce your cognitive load. You'll free up your time and energy, hopefully reduce distractions to allow you to achieve more. So if you've been with us from the beginning, thank you so much, Mom. Love you. Saad's mom, love you. Everyone else. Thank Marissa, you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Don't give her another one.
Sorry, that was one for you. Now that's one for me.
To everyone, if you just joined us, thank you. If you found something that's helpful, share it. That's all we do. That's why we do this for. We don't charge for this, because we're out here to support people. And remember, you are just one day away from the life you've always wanted and dreamed about. And we will see you in the next episode.